Hey everybody, it's your friend and your guy and your favorite Steam Deck guy, Gardiner. I'm here today coming at you with a reaction to the LinusTechTips video about running your own Nintendo games on your Steam Deck. I have done this. I have made videos about doing this. And none of them actually got flagged, mostly because I blurred out the Steam Deck running the actual Nintendo games. I bought a Switch the day that I heard that you could hack a Switch with a hardware mod, or with the little hardware key thingy. And I bought it specifically because I knew Nintendo would patch it and make it so that later versions wouldn't be able to be hacked. And boy howdy, am I glad that I actually did that, because I have all my keys, I have my NAND, it's all backed up. I have my most of my Switch library backed up, and I have it all on my Steam Deck, and I can take it with me wherever I go and not have to carry two devices and use the frankly inferior screen on the Nintendo Switch compared to the Steam Deck. And so it's pretty nice to be able to see LinusTechTips talking about this, because I mean, they're scared of Nintendo. Nintendo is big, and Nintendo is scary, and Nintendo is a bully that hates fun. So we're going to go ahead and watch this video featuring Anthony. Anthony, really cool guy. I've met him before. He's just super chill. And I mean, he's just like you see in the videos. So let's get into this, shall we?
I'm not kidding when I say that this video could be gone tomorrow. Nintendo's unleashed their army of lawyers for less than all I've done. But I managed to smuggle it out. Here. This is what they don't want you to see.
Censoring the video, censoring the Switch playing the games, or even just featuring the games in the library. That's, you know, a carefully thought out way of showing people how to do this, because legally there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. And if you're a Nintendo fanboy and you think there is something wrong with doing this, you're wrong. You're wrong, and you couldn't be more wrong. There's decades of precedence in the United States of America that says you have the right to back up your games and play them in any way, in any format, as long as you're not pirating the stuff. So you're absolutely wrong if you think Nintendo has legal stance to take videos like this down. The Nintendo has no ground to stand on here.
Nintendo games on the Steam Deck? It's more likely than you think. Nintendo would never do it. In fact, they took down videos from smaller YouTubers for just showing it. But as much as they'd like to do the same to me, everything you're about to see is perfectly above board. My Steam library's got a bunch of Switch games just chilling in it, including all of the artwork. And if I launch one, it just loads up like any other game. Just there we go. I even get playtime stats. It does take a little bit longer than usual because it has.
I love that they have the Nintendo and the Switch logos blurred out, but not the Yuzu emulator caching shaders. You know, they're trying to show as much as they possibly can here.
Load shaders and stuff, but once it's done, well, you'll see. Or maybe you won't. Because Nintendo is famously litigious. And we may or may not actually show this on YouTube. Ooh, Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Right,
so he's playing Mario Kart 8, and he just said that the experience has been smooth, and I can vouch for that. Mario Kart 8 works well if you get all the files that you need from your Switch first. The only problem that I've had with Mario Kart 8 is I actually had it connected to my 4K television, and I'm not exactly sure what happened here. I was outputting at 800p, upscaling FSR. And you could see all the FSR artifacts going from 800p to 4K. And it was ultra slow. Ultra slow. I mean, it wasn't like jerky slow. It was like actually slowed down. Like the emulation was at maybe 3/4 of what it should have been. And as soon as I unplugged the HDMI cable, it was back to normal speed on the Steam Deck screen. So that's the only weird experience I've had. That's the only game I tried on my TV. I thought it was interesting, though, that it did have that one small issue.
A little bit of a stutter there. I mean, it looks like Mario Kart, and it plays like Mario Kart. In fact, it plays better than you would typically be able to play with Mario Kart on the standard Switch, because because you've got way better sticks.
Yes, that's absolutely true as well. I was actually playing it with my cousin Luke, and he mentioned how much better it looked and felt to play on the Steam Deck than on the Switch. And I have to agree with him. I think that him and Anthony are onto something. Luke, literally this morning we were playing it and he was just like, wow, this is like night and day difference. So I really love playing Switch games on my Steam Deck. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic experience if you haven't done it. And I highly recommend that you do it and do it all above board so Nintendo has no legal leg to stand on here. If you own a Switch and you own the game on the Switch, then you have every right, in my opinion, to back up your game, dump it to an SD card, put that thing on your Steam Deck. It's super, super cool. It's a great experience, honestly.
I'm not the best person in the world at Mario Kart. This is basically 60 FPS. If it's dropping very seldomly.
Yeah.
The input lag seems pretty good too. All right, well, let's pop out of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe here.
I'm a little bit envious of his experience exiting Yuzu emulator because I've had a few issues exiting Yuzu. Namely, it doesn't want to exit. I've disabled the confirmed exit option in Yuzu, but it still is giving me tons of issues. Like, it just won't quit. The return to game or resume game and the exit game are both grayed out, like disabled. Like it's trying to shut the game down. It's just it won't quit. So I'd love to find a way to fix that. But other than that, it's a great experience. Before we go any further, let me ask you a question. Are you enjoying videos like this? Do you believe in the work that I'm doing here? Why not like that smash button and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the cool stuff that we're doing here on the channel? We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, and I think with your help, we can do it. And thanks.
I am very bad at Smash.
So I have Smash, but I actually haven't backed that up because at the time I was backing up my games, I didn't have an SD card that was large enough to dump the game off of the actual cartridge. So I have a 1 terabyte now, but in order to do it, I have to actually like wipe the 1 terabyte card, and I don't want to do that. So I don't know if I'm going to back up Smash. I really should though, because it's super fun, and I really want to play it on my Steam Deck now.
But yeah, as you can see, it picks right up, and now it's actually very good. Sorry all these clips are blurred. We believe that fair use protects gameplay footage for the purposes of creating reviews and tutorials, but Nintendo believes otherwise and has proven to be aggressively litigious about third-party exhibition of their games, and has repeatedly misused the DMCA to punish third parties when they feel that they're being harmed in some other way, even if there is no law against whatever you're doing. Nothing is blurred over on floatplane.com. Of course.
Nice. I love that they have their own platform where they can put their uncensored content. It's great. I would love to be on Floatplane, actually. Come on, guys. I've applied twice.
It's tough to deny that a full PC is a more versatile device. So if I wanted to carry just one handheld, this is my only real option. This isn't to say that the Steam Deck is a superior console. I mean, for one, it lacks Switch-grade motion controls and HD rumble. I just want to avoid packing 2 handhelds for travel once I finally get my Steam Deck.
The Steam Deck should have HD rumble. It's just not exposed in a way that the Yuzu emulator can pick up on it. And motion controls, it should have that kind of motion control, but the problem is you can't separate the controller from the console like you can on the Switch. But it should have just as accurate gyroscopes and accelerometers and stuff in the Steam Deck as it does as there is in the Switch. It's just, again, a matter of exposing that to emulators. I would love to see a build of Yuzu that takes advantage of Steam input. That would be really cool to see. Being able to, customize all the buttons in ways that you can't necessarily do without Steam input.
This one is Linus's, as you can plainly see. Now, if you're with me so far,
that was a good video.
Your next question has to be, how do I get this into this? One word: jailbreak. Here's a list of everything we'll need to get going. And while most of it is free, The big one that's not, and might be hard to find, is a jailbroken or jailbreakable Switch. The TLDR is that any Switch purchased within about the first year or so should work just fine.
Yeah, I'm fortunate in that I bought my Switch literally the moment I heard that the Switch was hardware vulnerable. I think I bought it in 2017. It was like right after it launched, and it was a very quick and impulsive purchase because I knew they would be patching later versions of the hardware, fixing later versions of the hardware that wouldn't be vulnerable in that same way. And there's a long time where I didn't do anything with my Switch in terms of like hacking it and running custom firmware. But when I heard about the Steam Deck, that's when I actually got serious about dumping the keys and the NAND so that I would have them when I wanted to play them on my Steam Deck, because I knew that I would want to play them on my Steam Deck.
Piece of hardware is the RCM jig. You can get one like this on Amazon for about $5.
I actually made my own RCM jig. I 3D printed it. I actually heated up the paperclip so it was nice and hot and pushed it through the holes in the jig, and then crimped the ends so that they stuck up just enough they would make contact with the pins in the Joy-Con rail. So it's kind of weird to me that they actually bought this because I made my own, but definitely that's a viable option. There'll be a link below if you want to pick one up.
But what these are doing at the end of the day is simply jumping some pins on the right Joy-Con rail to place it in recovery mode. Before we can move on from Hecate, we'll also need the Switch's unique hardware keys, so we'll select payloads and then choose Lockpick RCM. On this screen, you'll need to use the volume buttons to navigate up and down and the power button to select.
Yeah, this is all pretty standard. This is what I did to hack my Switch. I followed, I think it was the Switch homebrew wiki. They had a tutorial on how to do it and how to back up your games. And I used a 64 gigabyte SD card, but when you have all the stuff on it, it's more like 50 or 48 gigs or something available. It was actually quite an interesting experience to modify the Switch. I thought it was pretty fun.
Now it's finally time to dump some games. Launch DBI, choose Run MTP Responder, then plug the Switch into your computer. Bam! Look at that. You've got your SD card, your installed games, your saves, and your game card. That's everything.
See, I didn't actually do it that way. I don't remember what app I was running, but I was running some app, homebrew app, and it dumped the games to the SD card on the Switch. So what he's doing is actually really cool, and I kind of need to go find my RCM jig so I can do this with the rest of the games that I have, because I have quite a few that I've backed up but haven't backed up but still own on a cartridge.
Backing up is as simple as copying the files, though you don't need both the trimmed and not trimmed files from your game card. Haha, yes, Switch games. Try running one here to make sure everything works. And don't worry, it's normal for minor stuttering to happen during load screens or when shaders are compiling for the first time. They'll either go away soon or happen when they're least likely to be problematic. Now it's time to integrate all of this into Steam. While still in desktop mode, open up Discover and look for Steam ROM Manager. Install that and fire it up. Under Community Presets, type Yuzu and choose the Flatpak version. It'll automatically set everything up for you except for your ROMs folder, which you'll have to set to where you copied your games earlier.
Okay, the way he's doing this is different than what I've done. I actually used the EmuDeck utility. If you download the script from emudeck.com, I believe, there'll be a link down below. It'll set up a bunch of stuff, and you can actually point it to where you want to have your emulators or your ROMs installed. And it'll actually handle installing all the emulators for the ROMs that you put in the directory tree that it creates for you. And then it actually does use Steam ROM Manager. It sets that up. And, once you get to the Steam ROM Manager, it generates all of the content that you have installed and puts it right in your non-Steam games in the game mode. So quite a nice tool. Him installing it manually, there are, I think, simpler ways of doing it.
If all looks good, click Save App List. Now log out and go back into your library on the main deck UI. Check it out. In the non-Steam games list,
I love how when he's holding the Steam Deck in his hands, they are censoring the deck's screen. But here they have all the games that he has installed just right out there in the open for everyone to see. That's pretty funny. I don't know if they just missed this or maybe they had counsel who was like, as long as you can't see it running on the Steam Deck, then it's probably fine. But I mean, it's a screen cap of the Steam Deck, so what's the difference?
all your Steam games. You can even use this for other console emulators too. Now there are some drawbacks to this approach, like you're not able to use Nintendo's online services, which could be a deal breaker for you.
Nintendo has online services? What? Nintendo's online service is a joke, dude. You know it. I know it. We all know it. It's trash. But that's okay. Hopefully at some point, I know Ryujinx has like a LAN thing that you can do. You can play LAN games for Switch games, but I think I tried playing LAN on my Yuzu install on Mario Kart 8, and it crashed as soon as I launched the LAN part of the game. So doesn't work right yet, but I would love to see LAN support in games that support it pretty soon. That would be really, really cool to see.
There are also benefits, though, like easy backups of save games without Nintendo Online. I mean, I'll certainly sleep better knowing that a lost Switch doesn't mean hours of lost game progress. And while the first generation Steam Deck with modern emulators doesn't offer any performance advantages over a real Switch, that will change in the future, and you could expect to run games at higher frame rates or resolutions, or even with experimental mods on better hardware.
Yeah.
And nothing we're doing here is, in my opinion, immoral or unethical. For those who are concerned about the damage that piracy does to game developers, you can rest easy knowing that we didn't download any ROMs or firmware from the internet, and we didn't circumvent any protections.
Right, exactly. Everything that they're doing is completely above board. This is, they're not even really circumventing DRM prevention, because all you're doing is using a built-in feature of the Switch to run unsigned code. You're dumping your key files, which are then used to unlock the Switch's games. So you're using your own Switch's keys, encryption keys, to decrypt the games that you're then running on your Steam Deck. It's pretty awesome, actually. And I love the fact that it's not in any way circumventing DRM. It's like the DRM still exists. Like that encryption stuff is still there. It's just you are accessing your own Switch's encryption keys. I love that.
But why is this so contentious that Nintendo fans will call you a bad person for doing it? Well, I already talked a little bit about how Nintendo is right to fair piracy in our previous legal emulation video, especially now that there's a similarly priced handheld that can also run nearly every PC game ever, and the back catalogs of nearly every historical console. They went so far as issuing a DMCA takedown of the Fox's video showing the Steam Deck running Switch games despite him neither showing nor suggesting where to get the ROM files.
Right.
I guess now we'll see if they have the appetite to pick a fight with a bigger fish doing a full guide. You can probably guess at this point that we have something of a love-hate relationship with Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, as a known Sega kid, I obviously have a little bias. But even ignoring the responses to the Fox's video, you'll need only look at how Nintendo treats their own biggest fans to see why, despite the wellspring of creativity and childhood memories they represent, they're kinda dicks about it.
Nintendo hates fun. I've said this a million times. They might have this veneer of, oh, Nintendo games are so much fun for the whole family, but they hate fun. If you do anything outside of the way that they intend the game to be played, then you are to be put down. You are to be crushed under the heel of Nintendo's might. And I don't have any respect for that. If it's Nintendo versus Galoob with the Game Genie, or if it's the Nintendo MCN that they did for YouTubers and literally just stole revenue from content creators who were promoting their games for free. Nintendo hates fun, and I am really, really glad that LinusTechTips and Anthony here have done this video, because it's fantastic. Nintendo can't do anything about this, and if they try, I hope that Linus and he takes the full weight of his company and just decimates Nintendo in court over this, because somebody needs to stand up for fair use, and what they're doing here is fair use. And what you are doing by dumping your own ROMs and dumping your own NAND and your own keys from your Switch, there's nothing wrong with that. You have the right to do that. You have the right to back up the content, the devices and the data that you own, and you own them. So whatever. I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of this. I hope that I added to this conversation in some way. If you believe in the work that I'm doing here and you want to help the show grow, You can use the links in the description to become a Linux warrior on Patreon or as a YouTube member. But no matter what you do, it's all greatly appreciated. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.